If you're anything like me, you have this illogical, almost silly fear of sunken ships, sunken airplanes, tanks, or cars, or anything that's mechanical and man-made, which means that if you're anything like me, you suffer from submechanophobia. And in this video, we're going to talk about that. What is submechanophobia? Why does it affect so many people? And where does it come from? And we're going to start right now. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Submechanophobia. I thought I was alone on this. All my life, I had this illogical fear of sunken ships, planes, you know the rest. And I thought I was alone. In fact, I met one person in my whole lifetime that had a similar fear, but not as severe, where severe meaning when I come across a sunken ship, even if it's a picture of it, I lock up, I hyperventilate, I freak out, and I just kind of shut down. And I have this instant urge to flee. Whereas the other person mentioned that they have the fear, but it's not that bad, where they just kind of close their eyes and they can kind of tune it out. But where does this come from? Where is let's start with the term. Where does the term come from? I looked into it. I couldn't see who actually coined the term. I imagine it was kind of like a group thing, or like a group of people, because there are groups for this now, that kind of bonded together and said, okay, this is what we fear. It's called submechanophobia, and it's essentially the fear of man-made submerged objects that people are just afraid of. And it correlates closely with people who suffer from thalassalophobia, the fear of the abyss, of the unknown and the deep, which I am afraid of, but not nearly as much as being in close proximity of visible objects under deep water. That freaks me out to no end. I mean, even if it's 2D images, if it's movies or video, for example, obvious big one is Titanic, then there's the Poseidon Adventure, just watching the ship roll upside down, and then get to the part where the ship actually sinks. That just kind of like I have to close my eyes and freaking out. Yeah, I thought I was alone on this. But one thing TikTok and Reddit and places like that has showed me is that no matter what you think you're alone in, you're not. You're part of a group of thousands. Be it a quirk or a tick or a habit. You know, you do this thing with your hair and you can't stop pulling on strands of your hair. You're not alone. You're one of thousands, or if not millions of people who have that same thing. Whatever it is, fill in the blank. You're not alone in that. And that's a comforting thing to know, that through these platforms, you could see that you're not alone. You're not some one-off weirdo. You're not a freak of nature. But by the same token, it also shows that you're not really that unique, which isn't bad either. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But with submechanophobia, it's one of those things where I'm glad I'm not alone. I'm happy that I'm not alone, but there still aren't very many answers. The biggest answer as to why do we have this illogical fear of these harmless, inanimate objects underwater? What's the underlying reason? Basic logic would say trauma. I had some kind of trauma, or I suffered something. I was on a ship in the past and the ship sank and I was on it and I was within an inch of my life and I almost died. Or I was scuba diving and I got trapped in like a door or something in a tank or a ship that I was exploring underwater. Most cases, that's just not the case. A lot of people point to fear of the unknown being the underlying reason. Except, how can that be a part of submechanophobia when you see and you know? You see the ship, you see the car or the airplane or whatever it is that's submerged underwater. You see it, and so you know. So therefore, that removes the fear of the unknown, because you know. So why am I so afraid? Why do I freak out when I see this and I can't breathe and I lock up and I'm just instantly want to flee and get out of there as far away as I possibly can? It's weird. I don't know. But I am glad that there is a name to it, that there's awareness of it, and that I'm not alone on that. Thank goodness. I went snorkeling in Puerto Rico some years ago. I took my wife there to propose to her. It was a great time. If you've never been snorkeling, I highly recommend it. It's so fun. It's so refreshing and invigorating. And I went out there, and before they took us on a boat, we went to like this little shallow area as a test run to get you acclimated to the water, your gear, floating devices, swimming about and the such. We get off the ship. I put on the gear. I do test runs where I'm just kind of dipping my face into the water to take a look around. I dip my face down, and all I see is a patch of seaweed. It's just seaweed, harmless seaweed. And it was this big oval patch. And I freaked out. I mean, I inhaled salt water, running, like fleeing out of the water as fast as my body can carry me to get away from a patch of seaweed. When I'm out of the water, my wife's making fun of me. We're all having a belly laugh. Ha, 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 ha. I finally go back and I try it again. All right, now I know what it is. I shouldn't be afraid. Dip my head in the water. I'm looking at it. Okay, and then I just acclimate to it. Fine. Then I look over to the right and I see the underbelly of the ship we were traveling on, and it freaked me out all the same. It just freaked me out all the same. I'm fleeing out of the water, hyperventilating, like dying. Then we go to the next area, which is the snorkeling, the actual coral reef area where we go to snorkel. I go in, I do the same thing. I just kind of peek down, and I just saw the most beautiful sights. The most beautiful coral, vibrant, colorful, full of marine life, fish, all these like different species of fish and like all these colors, and it was just this gorgeous thing. I looked over, I looked back, and I saw the underbelly of the boat. It didn't scare me anymore. I started with every floating device that you can put on a human being. And after about 45 minutes, I was down to just my flippers, and it was the time of my life. And honestly, if there was any kind of hint of a sunken ship or anything in that area, I probably wouldn't have gotten off the ship at all. Now I'd like to conduct a little experiment here. I'm going to just play some images, and I want you to write in the comments below how these images make you feel. If they cause you to feel anxiety, a desire to flee, nausea, or at least causes you a serious pause, you may have submechanophobia. And I'd like for you to leave your comments below on how these images made you feel. Here they are. I want to know, what is your story with submechanophobia? If you're watching this video, it's a good chance that you probably have it or know somebody that has it, or maybe you're just curious. But if you do have any form of it, I want to know in the comments below, what has your experience been with it? Are you one of those that has submechanophobia for no reason and you can't explain it like myself? Or are you one of those that has maybe had a traumatic experience and suddenly for the rest of your life, you just have this epic fear of either the deep or objects underwater, especially man-made objects? Or maybe you're one of those that had a non-traumatic experience, but just like in your own mind, you developed a fear. Let me know in the comments below. The best comment I find most interesting, I'll pin to the top. And that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss anything new in the future. And be sure to hit that bell so you're notified whenever I upload new content. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.